If you've ever driven from Las Vegas down to Kingman, Arizona, you've driven through a tiny little town called Dolan Springs, Arizona. And today, that's where we are. And if you look around, there's not much here. It's just a tiny little dot in a map. But I'm going to show you what's here, tell you a little bit about the history of Dolan Springs, and maybe the next time you come through, you might want to see what's here. Dolan Springs is a small community of a little less than 2,000 people. However, looking around at how sparsely populated this area is, it's hard to believe that the number is that high, but apparently it is. Dolan Springs has a higher than average number of residents living below the poverty line, about 41% in fact. Sadly, Dolan Springs has developed a reputation for drugs, ex-criminals, and other problems. But there are plenty of great people here as well. Many of them retirees that are looking for cheap land within driving distance of Kingman or Las Vegas, of which Dolan Springs is almost right in the middle of the two. Although natives have lived in the area for a long time, the beginning of modern settlement here really began with the area being called Lake Mohave Ranchos. The area was set to be developed by Tom White, who moved here to a tiny ramshackled house with his family in 1959 to open a real estate office and manage the development of the area. He was going to sell 1-acre lots for $99, with $10 down and a whopping $10 a month to purchase. He would manage Lake Mohave Ranchos until 1967. Churches and community centers were built by volunteers in the early years, with the Baptist Church being the first to be built in the area. Commercial development in the area began with a simple service station. A variety store, motel, and restaurants were all built in the area. Tom White would plant an elm tree at each commercial location if the owner would care for them. Today, only 1 or 2 of those trees that he planted remain. In 1967, Mount Tipton School was built and opened to provide easier access to education to the students of this area without having to drive out to farther communities. Taking a look around town today, there are some businesses here. There is a Family Dollar and a Dollar General, the main shopping sources in town being that the larger grocery store building in town seemingly closed some time ago. There is an American Legion and a VFW right across the road from each other, perhaps hinting at the kind of clientele making up the population here. There is a tourist trading post and art gallery, some restaurants including the Canyon Cafe, Hot Diggity Dog, a Mexican and Chinese restaurant, a bakery, a post office, and some other little shops. A public library is available at the north end of town. There is also a little park for the community, the Mount Tipton Park, which is where I filmed my intro to this video. With easy access to both Lake Mead and Lake Mohave, panoramic views in every direction, old-growth Joshua trees everywhere, and located by Mount Tipton, this is a great place to see the wild outdoors. What this community lacks in development, curb appeal, and personality can somewhat be made up for in the wild beauty and clean air found here. It's also on the route to Grand Canyon West. If you're heading out that way, or going between Kingman and Las Vegas, maybe stop for lunch or get a coffee and see a town that most people pass by, Dolan Springs. We'll see you next time, somewhere else down the road.